Hi guys, this is Bilal Khan and you are watching Simplified Coding. In this video, we will add Passport to our Laravel project. Laravel Passport is an OAuth2 server implementation. With Laravel Passport, implementing OAuth2 authentication in APIs becomes a piece of cake. So let's add it in our project. So the first thing that we will do is we will open our terminal, and as you can see here I am inside my project folder, and here I will run the command composer require laravel/passport, and it will add Laravel Passport to our project. So Passport is added in our project. Now we will run the command php artisan migrate, and we did it to migrate the new authentication tables that are required for our OAuth2 server implementation. Now after running the command migrate, we will install our passport, and to install the passport we need to run the command php artisan passport :install. Now we need to go to our user model class. So go inside app, and here you will see user, and here we will use has API tokens, that is a part of passport, because when we authenticate the user from an API we use tokens and not sessions in the server. And to authenticate this user model from an API, we will add the has API token here. So we will add has API tokens here. We also need to import this thing. So here we will write use Laravel/passport and then has API tokens like this. So our user model is complete now. Now we will go to our auth service provider file. So this file is inside this providers folder, and inside this folder we have this auth service provider.php, and here we will initialize our Laravel Passport routes. So here we will write inside the boot function passport : routes, and we also need to import passport. So here we will write use Laravel/passport/passport like this, and our auth service provider is ready. Now we will go to config and auth.php file, and here we will define authentication for our API routes. So here we have two things. First one is web and the second one is API. For API we will define driver as passport. Now everything is done. We just need to create routes for our application. So to create the API routes, we have an api.php file here, and it is inside this routes folder, and here we have api.php. So all the API routes we will define here inside our api.php file. So first I will delete everything from here, and I will define a new route. But before defining a route, I will define a controller that will authenticate our user. And to define a controller, again we will go to terminal. So this is our terminal, and I will clear everything. To create a controller, we use the command php artisan and then make controller, and then we give the name of the controller. So I want to create a controller inside an API folder, and inside the folder I want auth controller. So I will write API then auth controller. You can change the name if you want, but this name is perfect for me. So you can see we have controller created successfully. Now we go to HTTP and controllers, and here you can see a new folder is created, and inside the folder we have our newly created controller, which is auth controller. And here we will define our functions to authenticate the user. So we are going to use this controller, this auth controller, in our login and sign up APIs. So let's go to api.php, and here I will define my routes for my APIs. So first I will define a namespace. So I have root namespace because I will define all my controllers inside this API folder, and this API folder is using this API namespace. So I do not want to define this every time when I define a route. So that is why I am defining a route namespace here. So what we will do is we will define the namespace, and the namespace is API. Then I will group all the routes, and inside the group function we pass a function like this, and inside this namespace I will define all my API routes. So the first routes required are for login and for sign up, and we do not need any authentication in these routes. So I will define simply root, and then prefix. I will prefix these routes to auth, and then again I will call the group function, and then function, and inside this prefix auth I will define my login and sign up routes. So all these routes will be post. So I have post, and inside post I will define the endpoint first. So my endpoint is login, to log in the user, and when we will request to this endpoint I will call the function auth controller, and then login. So here we need to create a function as well, that is public function login. So this function will be called whenever we will make a request to this login endpoint. So just for now I will display a message that is login endpoint requested. Now come back to api.php, and I will define one more route. It is also post, and it is for sign up. And again I will call auth controller and sign up. So I will define one more function here, public function sign up, and echo sign up endpoint requested, like this. Now all the other routes will be authenticated using OAuth2, and to authenticate the other routes I will define a middleware. And to do this I will again write root, then group, and inside the group I will pass an array, and in the array I will define middleware, and the middleware is auth API. Now after this we will pass a function where we will define all the routes that requires authentication. So just for an example I will define a get route here, and it is hello world. You can make your endpoint anything, and when we will request this endpoint I will call the function auth controller at index, and that's all. We just need to define this function in our auth controller, and we will display a message. Let's display hello world for now. Now let's request this login endpoint, and it is a post request. That is why to make the request we need postman. I hope you already have it. So this is our route. Then we will append API because it is an API route, and all the API's route in Laravel are prefixed by this API keyword in small cases. So after API we will put one more slash, and we will put our custom prefix, that is auth. So we have auth, and then finally we have login, that is our endpoint, and we need to send a post request. Now send it, and you can see we are getting the output login endpoint requested. If you call sign up endpoint requested, and if you call hello world, and for hello world we do not have this auth, so let's remove it and send a get request, and you can see we are getting redirected to the login page because this endpoint was not authenticated. And if we pass a header, that is accept application JSON, and if we send the request now, we will get the response as unauthenticated, and the status code is 401, because to call this endpoint we need to be authenticated with a bearer token. But all these things we will do in the next video. This is it for this video, I think. I hope you are able to do this far. If you have any problem or question or confusion, just leave your comments below. And also, if you are successfully able to do this far, then please comment it below as well that you have done it successfully. And finally, if you like this video, then please hit on that like button, subscribe to my channel and share this video with all your friends. Thanks for watching everyone. This is Bilal Khan now signing off.